example, players can set up an ambush in the elevator by getting in and not selecting a floor. They can then give enemies a surprise when they enter to use the elevator. The rooftops of buildings in Telepack Town are also connected by zip lines, which gives players more flexibility in urban battles. If the zip line is destroyed, it can be repaired with a tactical crossbow. I believe Telepack Town will give players a unique 3D alley combat experience. If you like fast-paced battles and enjoy thrilling shootouts right after landing, you can land at the Science Center at the heart of the map. The design of the modern orbital satellite roof feels really high-tech. The Science Center has 3 floors. Each floor is spacious and contains lots of supplies, which attracts many players to loot this area. As you can imagine, very intense battles will break out between these floors. At the top of the Science Center is a rooftop with a multi-layer structure. Players can look far into the distance from here for a great visual advantage. However, they'll also be exposed as there's nowhere to hide. If you want to land directly on the rooftop, you must check if there are enemies nearby to ensure your own safety. In short, if you're confident in your close-range shooting skills, you're welcome to land at the Science Center. Like the Science Center, Flame Village is also located at the center of the map. The terrain is quite low there, and the village is surrounded by mountain slopes. There are many huts in the village, and there are many places where you can stand on the beams of the huts. Players can climb or jump onto the beams to ambush other players. But there's one thing you mustn't forget. A tactical crossbow used with firebolts can set the huts on fire. This will expose the players hiding in them. Of course, firebolts will burn and deal damage to enemies when they are hit. In addition to huts, there are also brick buildings that cannot be set on fire in Flame Village. They occupy a large area, contain plenty of supplies, and are high conflict areas. If you're confident in your shooting skills, you can choose to land at Flame Village or Science Center at the heart of the map. It'll also be convenient for moving to areas along the edge. Other than the previously mentioned areas, this island also has winding and rugged mountain paths, a shipyard where the whistle roars, a regal resort with wide and open terrain, Sunset Street, which is planted with many banana trees, Crystal Bay, which has secret rooms, and more. These are all gorgeous locales that can bring players different gaming experiences. After hearing the above introduction, I'm sure players already understand what makes Noosa so uniquely fun. Lots of supplies for fast looting. The verticality of the terrain increases the strategic depth of battles. And the 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer size makes firefights inevitable. What are you waiting for? Gather your friends and enjoy a rowdy vacation on Noosa. For more details, don't forget to follow the official PUBG mobile community. See you next time!
Hi everyone! In the PUBG Mobile version 2.2 update, Erangel is getting an overhaul with changes to the map, vehicles, and modes. Without further ado, let's find out what these changes are. In this update, we made several changes to the map. First, the hospital. It's one of the bigger buildings in Erangel. In this update, the following changes were made to the hospital. How to get in and out of the hospital, its structure, nearby objects, and the vegetation surrounding the hospital. Veteran players should know that some of the fences of the hospital can be scaled to enter the hospital. The ones near the ridges are how most players enter the hospital. Now, 2 spots along these fences will be blown up, and players can enter the hospital area through the gap directly. The building itself also got a new entrance. Players that are on the ground can enter the first floor of the hospital directly through the newly added damaged wall. Those who parachute to the hospital can land on the roof and descend to the 3rd floor immediately. These changes will make it easier for players to spot the entrances and streamline their movements in this area. Those attacking and defending will know where they should focus on as well. On the inside, we simplified the structure of the hospital. Originally, the 3 floors had different layouts, and there were many rooms on each floor. So, searching the rooms was very tedious, because players had to go into each room. After the update, the 3 floors are now more or less the same. Some rooms are now also connected, making it easier for players to remember and to search the rooms for supplies. As for the surroundings, we also made some improvements. We added abandoned ambulances and ruined medical crates to the areas surrounding the hospital, so now it feels more authentic. We placed some objects at the entrance of the hospital so that it wouldn't be too empty. This gives players heading toward the hospital a covered area to protect themselves, so they are not directly exposed to enemies inside the hospital. Outside the fences on the side of the hospital, we added a new climbable spot. Players can hide here, or they can scale the fence to enter the hospital. As for the fences by the ridge, since there are now 2 gaps to enter the hospital, we've reduced the number of objects in this area to make it more visible. So now, both attackers and defenders can see each other clearly. Further out from the hospital, we've added some new vegetation, so that players hanging around the hospital will have more places to hide. Milta Power also saw some changes that are mostly in the generator area. Players who are familiar with this area should already know that this section was quite a choke point and was not easy to get in and out of. Those who entered either came out the same way or had to take a detour to the other 2 buildings. In this update, we added a new entrance on the 1st floor to make this area more reachable and easier for players to get in and out. The layout was also modified. We simplified the complex floor plan so the players can see more and plan their routes better. When battles break out in the generator building, players will have more offensive options, making these battles more exciting. In this update, 3 new ports will be added to Erangel. The first port is by Ferry Pier. We added a port here, as well as increased the amount of resources in the area. The Ferry Pier will soon be more abundant in supplies. The 2 desolate beaches to the southwest of Farm and to the south of Sosnovka military base will also get new ports. They will both contain a good amount of resources. Players will also find boats at these ports, so they can quickly travel to another location. So, keep these places in mind, because they'll make for a great landing spot. During the previous themed modes, players really enjoyed the special crates. In the new version, we'll add special supply kits to classic mode. Players will be able to find special supply kits in buildings. There are 3 types: medical, tokens, and military supplies. The resources in these supply kits are very good, so keep an eye out for them when searching. In the new version, bikes will become a staple vehicle on Erangel. In some of the more remote areas, players will find bicycle sheds. Each shed will have 4 bikes initially, and they're first come, first served. These bikes can be collapsed and put into the backpack, so they're really convenient for traveling to other locations. In addition to the sheds, players will be able to find bikes in other areas. With a bike, players no longer have to worry about being too far from the play zone. In the new Erangel, there will be flash shops. They will spawn randomly in outdoor areas. Those who find one are in for a treat, because there are tons of random discounted items. So, keep an eye out for flash shops during matches. Running out of fuel is one of the worst things that can happen while driving a vehicle. Erangel's gas stations will become functional for refueling vehicles. For the cost of just a few tokens, you'll get a full tank of gas. Find a gas station and try it out. These are the main changes in the version 2.2 update. For more details, don't forget to follow the official PUBG mobile community. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. See you next time.
It's here! The long-awaited new Noosa map is finally here! With a size of only 1x1 kilometer, Noosa is currently the smallest map in PUBG Mobile. It may be small, but it definitely offers a massive amount of content. Not only are there new firearms, what's more, there's also the highly interactive tactical crossbow. Setting huts on fire, repairing zip lines are not a problem. Speaking of map interactivity, Noosa is simply full of surprises. An elevator that lets you go to different levels of a building, a pool that restores your health, fast-moving zip lines, and crates in the wilderness can all better assist you in drawing up tactics to defeat enemies. Even if you get careless and get defeated, there's no need to let it get you down. Noosa's Super Recall will allow you to respawn once more. The small, fastest-paced map lets you rank up faster. All right, I'll leave it to you to explore rest of the content for yourself. Hope everyone ranks up and gets that chicken dinner. The new map officially launches on September 13th. Stay tuned.
GT Neo 3. Neo Speed Awakens.
Assalamualaikum, welcome back ladies and gents. You guys are tuning into the 2022 PMPL Southeast Asia Championship Fall, which is brought to you by Tencent Games, PUBG Corporation, Lightspeed and Quantum Studios. I'm Chou and this is going to be the amazing Cloud as well. We will be your casters for today. But before that, formalities aside, we're going to also thank our sponsors here. It's going to be official smartphone partner Realme with GT Neo 3. Your Neo Speeds awakens with the latest chipset Dimensity 8100 5G. Definitely will just going to be your best experience playing PUBG Mobile. So thank you so much for our official live stream partner TikTok. Hashtag be the one for our TikTok challenge and follow our official PUBG Mobile pages, which are going to be PUBG Mobile MY official, PUBG Mobile Esports.my, PUBG Mobile Esports.sg, PUBG Mobile official PH, and not forgetting definitely our official food delivery partner Grab Food with 50% off with the code of PUBGM. Put it on caps letter, by the way. For new users, you get 50% off for all your orders or anything else, you know. And also this will be terms and conditions apply, which means maybe some shops are and some shops not. But we're back here again on the desk here, speaking of our final day of week number 2. We're going to wrap things up and see who will get them extra points for the league, Cloud.
Oh my goodness, it's so exciting to be like part of the last day because this is the final run and it's going to be exciting to see that who will be on top again. Will we again see like Thailand 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Will it be a superb comeback from the Thai team that's on page number 2, that is Vampire Esports, or will another team overtake the throne, the number 1 spot? That will be something that we'll be seeing throughout the day.
I'm expecting to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Thai, but right now currently seating Vampires one furthest away from the rest of the tie, but TEM Entertainment really shines when it comes to week number 2 if you compare with week number 1, no chicken. But week number 2, they really ramped up with getting themselves quite a numbers of chicken, not just that, with their overall ranking as well. Now, speaking of the other teams, you talked about the Malaysian example, still stuck down there, not having a bit of a a dodge towards a more higher play. We talked about them since week 1. Week 2 feels like it's decreasing performance. But before we getting more into the topics, let's just roll back towards our schedule and format.
Yeah, in case you're not up to date, which you guys should, so the tournament will happen from this moment up until the 16th, which is going to be next week. So the top 16 will move on to the grand finals, which will happen from the 21st to 23rd this month as well. It will be 6 matches to be played every day, and the top 5 from there will move on to the PUBG Mobile Global Championship League, or in other words, the PMGC. So keep your eye on first the top 16 and then the top 5, which you will see later on, that will be playing in the bigger stage, going up against bigger teams, and of course all the best teams in the world, including the Chinese region as well, that we got a little bit of a preview during the PMRC.
Back about our overview of the points, definitely it's going to be the first place. This is by round of the match itself, okay? The first place with the chicken dinner takeaway 15 points, the second 12. This is going to be the same old format. 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 1, and 0 for 13 to 16. Elimination points still is going to be 1 point for each, but the total prize pool will be a lion's share of $200,000 for the win for this guy. So this is just one step ahead for them to get into a bigger prize pool for the next tier of challenge. But we do have the bonus point system as well.
Yeah, the format is really important for us to know, because today is the last day of week number 2. Week number 3 will be a grind for a lot of these teams. So we have the weekly bonus points that's awarded every week for weekly rankings, and then we'll have the league bonus points that's awarded for overall league stage rankings, which will be calculated later on. And then the total bonus, which is the total weekly bonus points, including the league bonus points, will be the initial points during the grand finals later on. So that's very important. Points starts from number 20 to number 1, depending on their placement.
These are the groups that participating this time as well. It's going to be 5 groups of 4 teams each. Which A group we have the Xaviers, 4 Rivals, Buriram, TEM Entertainment. Group B we have Infinity, BN United, Alter Ego, and Yoodo Alliance. Group C, Ego Esports, FaZe, NFT, Sam9, and Group D, GIDS, DBD, Box Gaming, Vampire Esports, whilst Group E, Geek Fam, Boom, Bacon Time, and ShineLikeDiamond SLD. So far, each of the group do have each flag differently, except for Group A, we have double tie teams in there. Except for Indonesian team, they have only 4 representatives.
Yes, the current ranking right now. So speaking about the Thai teams, they are still on top. We have the Infinity and TEM Entertainment, and then we have Geek Fam representing Malaysia at number 3. Then it comes to another Thai team, which is Bacon Time, 152 points, and we have the rise of the Xavier as compared to last week's performance. This week's performance not too bad. They are currently number 5. GIDS representing Indonesia as well, number 6, followed by another Thai team, FaZe Clan at number 7. Now we do look at the overall score. It is closer as compared to last week. That means that number 1 spot can be anyone by the end of the day.
It's very different when compared with last week. The only 2 Thai teams that haven't made it for the first page is going to be Buriram and Vampires. I'm not surprised if this team really rank it up or go for a huge amount of kill volume when it comes to the match later on, because they want to match up like how they did for last week when they came in the very last minute. But this is going to be the team to focus for the highlights. We have Bacon Time, Geek Fam, and Infinity. And Infinity, as always, they have been a monster, and this week as well. Same goes for Bacon Time, but for Geek Fam, last week was really quiet. This time they're coming out very strong.
Yeah, Geek Fam last week, like what you mentioned, was quiet. In fact, for overall Malaysian teams, they were quiet. They had their moments, but then again, it didn't really sustain. But this week, Geek Fam sustained, and they are challenging for that number 1 spot. That's why they are one of our highlight teams for today. Not to mention as well, of course, the Infinity. Last week, they were pretty good, but this week they were even better. Last week had a lot of highlight plays. Again this week as well. I mean, these guys are just unstoppable at this moment.
For Vegeta Infinity, on the other hand, well, they have been consistent. I'm not surprised if it ended up just like how last week, but so far the overall ranking boards when it comes to leagues points, definitely the tie is still at number 1 and maybe at this point, maybe in top 4, top 5. But back to us for our overall as well. I do want to see more on the side of the Vietnamese team. Example here, the Xaviers. Now, the Xaviers really changed a lot when it comes to last week as well. But back about Geek Fam yesterday, we did had an interview with Yuhai. He did mention they do know last week's performance, they kind of didn't deliver the performance, and they changed a bit of the stuff there, changed in terms of their strategy, and it really works when it comes to week 2.
Well, we are heading into Sanhok, the one and only Sanhok that will be played today as usual. And these are the teams to focus: GIDS, FaZe Clan, The Infinity, and Geek Fam. All these teams that are currently at some of the top spots in the overall charts at this moment. And of course, what would be a chart without a mention of a Thai team, right? They have to be in there.
That's true. When it comes to Sanhok, used to be one of the ties, always got it the entire week instead for the last few days. But when it comes to week number 2, it feels like a bit of a mix and match for now. But team to focus this time, GIDS, FaZe Infinity, and Geek Fam. If you compare with elimination points, Geek Fam is one of the most aggressive when it comes to Sanhok this week. But when it comes to transition, they're not so well transitioned as they got caught in between. For today's match, we start off at Sanhok, Miramar, double Erangel, the usual. But the grouping will change by time.
Yeah, the grouping, as what you can see here on screen, is plus GMT plus 8. So if you're in a different time zone, GMT plus 7 maybe, or plus 6, whichever, just adjust accordingly to your own timing. As usual, we'll be playing 1 Sanhok, 2 Miramars back-to-back, 2 Erangels back-to-back, and then we'll wrap up the week and we will see who is number 1 until number 20 to take home those points. And we will determine what will happen, what will be the crucial points for next week after that.
But definitely for week number 2, I call a week of judgment, where if teams are not performing last week and they still be in slumber this week, there's going to be a bit of a problem. They cannot sleep anymore, cannot relax, because if they lose their points in the second week, playing it only in third week is going to be a really hard grind. We're talking about the overall ranking points were really hard to catch up here. But we do have more for you guys watching at home. Don't forget to just log into PUBG Mobile and have the experience yourself with the latest news on map.
Yeah, this new sub-map, amazing map. I love it so much. It's actually really balanced. One of the smaller maps that is, it's so balanced. Like you can play with the high ground, you can play with the low ground compounds and everything else. And inside the new sub-map, there is this new tactical crossbow that you should try out as well. By using it, you can create a zip line, go from area to area, or even burn down the house if you want to as well. That's totally up to you how you play it. Now, the new sub-map, it's about 5 to 8 minutes. If you choose to go around being really aggressive, try to take everyone out, it could take about 5 minutes to finish a round. But if you choose to play it kind of regularly or play a little bit safe and you really want to last towards the end, then it could probably be about 8 minutes per round. So it's about that range if you want to try it out.
Collectors, this is your time to shine. Don't forget to collect yourself with the RPM 15, also with the latest set, Clairvoyant Fox set, and the Midas Fortune set. Definitely one of yours to actually take crap away. But if you miss this, well, there's always a new RPM in the future, but you definitely don't want to miss every single one, because your account will be such a value if you got yourself the full collection of all the RPM Royal Pass sets. And also we have new sets coming in, which the only time we have a double ultimate set as well.
Yeah, which is called the Spectral Swan set, as well as the Cosmic Inquisitor set, currently available in game for your purchase. And this is the first double ultimate set that is available. Do try it out. A lot of sets for you to collect from the RP, from this ultimate set as well. I mean, in the past few months as well, we have other sets, but in coming months as well, we have a couple of collaborations, including the Bobo collaboration. So a lot of sets for you guys to collect, and you don't want to miss out on that.
Yep, and for you guys who never want to miss a tournament, do sign up for PMCC 2022. Just scan the QR code. That's as simple as it can get for you to register these days. For the second qualifier already commencing for the PMCC 2022, where you have the chance, your last chance to book yourself at PMNC 2022 and might actually have a shot for the PMPL 2023. And maybe you can find yourself a good sponsor, and maybe we'll be casting your games as well in the future. Who knows? this is your path to be a professional player.
Yeah, and of course to earn the moolah there, as you can see on screen. But besides that as well, we have this new skin inside the game, and this is the first original PUBG Mobile sports car. What I really like about the skin is, if I get to pick one, I'd like the one on the far left, or the one with the black and gold. I think that's really, really nice, really shabby. But hey, maybe you can tell us which one you really like inside the comments. And if you have one of these right now, do show us. You can create some content around it. Hashtag be the one TikTok challenge, and you never know if you'll be featured on one of our PUBG Mobile social medias.
Or maybe take the idea of this true sports car, true real artist sports car, and try to do it on your real car in real life to actually do the same wrapping and same, everything. It's really cool, by the way, if you actually drive these cars. But now, jokes aside, and back towards our official matches here, we're talking about how the teams want to perform when it comes to last week or week number 2 here. And definitely our prediction will be dropping off. Hopefully we're not jinxing any team today.
Well, again, disclaimer, I didn't predict this. So, another disclaimer. So, GIDS, but FaZe Clan's pretty solid, not gonna lie about that. They have got a chicken dinner inside sign up before. So, based on the gameplay as well, they're not really the healing game kind of team. I would also vouch for FaZe Clan.
Well, you said you didn't predict anything today. It's not credited to you. So, well, for me, it's going to be FaZe definitely. But back towards the games, we talked about Sunhawk before. We talked about how the team rotations and how they got caught in between. Now, we do know how the Thais really are going to ramp it up when it comes to the last minute. They just a killing machine. They are bulldozing a lot of teams down there. Definitely, what can we do to take the Thais down? Because right now, it feels like they are undefeatable.
Yeah, they are at this moment. I mean, regardless of whichever Thai team, right? They are still looking pretty solid. Whether it's the Infinity this week, last week was FaZe Clan. Next week, we don't know. Maybe it could be another one. But looking at overall, Thailand as a region, they are unstoppable. Their gameplay is really, how should I put it, up to date with the meta in advance. Against other teams, they're really, really aggressive. They really know how to play it tactically. And to me, coordination-wise, really solid as well. It's very hard to tell what their weakness at this point.
So far, we're going to have to wait and see if there's any team that are dare enough to challenge a team is coming out from Thai, because they are just so strong. But I want to see the other teams rise up to the occasion and put it up a challenge, because definitely Bootcamp will be one of a hot spot here. Definitely also we saw yesterday how the circle comprises of all the 3 islands. But today, will the circle fare well for the players, or will it making it such a crucial challenge for them straight off the start of our final day in week number 2? We don't want to waste any more time, no more chit-chatting here, because we're going to straight drop into Sunhawk, our first match of the day.
It's the final Sunhawk. Yeah, we only have one Sunhawk anyway, so it's the final Sunhawk for the week, of course, before we wrap up all the other Sunhawks. But let's see, look at the flight path, Cam Alpha onto Dogs. The Infinity will find it a little bit difficult for them to get onto their regular drop spot around the area of the Cow, Tatmore, so it's a little bit of a travel for them. Camp Bravo is a little bit far as well, so some teams might find it a little bit difficult. So there is a little bit of a risk there if they drop somewhere in between, try to get maybe a vehicle, or maybe just running into their regular drop spot. They might run into other teams, so that's something to be aware of as we head onto this round.
I love how Alter Ego spread quite wide between themselves, taking the domination of Cam Alpha so far. Previously, there's a lot of team dropping Cam Alpha. These days, only 2 team now. Stemni still taking over hard team, but it's more towards the side of Alter Ego taking the majority of the Cam Alpha itself. But the circle, we might end up right on top of Ruins, yeah? We have no clue if the circle is going to heart shift or not, but definitely when it comes to certain compound, DBD, Brew, and Buriram are fighting each other.
Seem to be still looting up, and what I worry about DBD is that every time they have an early fight, their win rate is actually fairly low.
Cam Charlie, it is for them. I do know why they change it. Because Infinity always just backstabbing in Paradise Resort. Who want to fight Infinity at this stage? So might as well play a bit safe instead of trying to force up the challenge. And DBD do know they are in the dire need of points. They need to change your tactical drop spot, having a bit more comfort zone. But right now, not too comfortable if you still have to share your compound with the Titans. We're talking about Buriram here. They definitely are really good when it comes to their firepower and their tactical. When it comes to their organization and moving in unison, you just have it so well when things start to unfold. But DBD6 has no clue that name has spotted him out. I'm not sure if they know where the position of Buriram players.
Yeah, seems like they don't. But now with my name P, he moved a little bit. They would have heard the footsteps. Now they would have an idea where the Buriram players are at. Just depends on which player has a better weaponry. But looks like my name P with the DBS. The door closed in onto him. The shots didn't connect, but that also signals towards DVD that they are going up against the DBS. The DVD has the DBS of themselves.
Really outplay with that DBS. Nothing seems to fall onto its place yet as we wait for Buriram or DBD start to make a move. Kangzo taking the high grounds definitely will be the informant for the team, giving away the information and relay back to the entire roster. But here comes Name, giving a shot through the windows, but nothing seems to connect yet.
Not yet, because all of them know that, okay, there's a DVD, right? There's a DBS right in front of them. Well, the name's pretty similar, but there's a DBS right in front of them, so that's why they're not like going just straight head on. If they didn't hit the DBS, then maybe they might just go for it. But it is Sanhao, it's a current meta. Everyone plays with the DBS. We can see Moody waiting behind, probably wanting to stop any flanks that tries to come in. But DBD looks like they're not interested to do that. They're interested to take it head on, but no big moves just yet. Anyway, they're in the circle, so they can kind of take their time.
Kangzo tried to outcorner them from the outskirts, but the thing is, they do have one more person of DBD also on the outsides. But back to his Infinity, caught Rebel Boy running around. It's going to be Newsy, finish him off straight away again. The IGL of Yoodo Alliance seems like having a bit of a problem for his rotation recently.
Yeah, that's the thing about the flight path, right? The risk of them going down as they try to get to the draw spot is there. Now focusing onto Ziggs. Back again. He gets two back-to-back movement from Ziggs with the QBZ. And he moves in. Tiger at the forefront. Tiger goes down as well. Looks like DVD. Looking sharp this time.
They are slamming it in front of Buriram with water spray coming up from DBD. It was doubled down and finished off by Jimmy OP with one casualty in the hands of DBD. They lost one man, but definitely can reset for the other one as they revive their teammate. What a nice shot calling coming up from Ziggs at first with an AKM or QBZ just now. But back to us, the other side of the team, we do have 4 rivals transitioning into their second checkpoint, possibly. They also try to get as close as possible towards the safe zone.
Yeah, so now DVD, they still maintain their full squad. And with the kind of area, it would be decent amount of loot. But the next they might need to deal with whoever's dropping into the areas of Sahmi. But then again, there will be a healing game being played for sure. I would expect that to happen. We saw a lot of that happen yesterday as well. Now DBD is one of those teams who will also play the healing game. They have that potential, and being in the area, they can move towards cave if they want to loot a little bit more, and it should be okay for them. So I do see the potential of them moving towards the right side as we go throughout this stage.
Ego Esports rotating around just to build up their loot. As usual, it's going to be the game of PUBG Mobile. You drop, you loot, you build up your gears, you survive, and you shoot when it really matters. Now, a lot of teams want to avoid fights before the third circle. We do know the third circle, as I mentioned before, yesterday specifically. It's always about waiting for the third circle to pop, because that's where you know the exact location after that, where to go based on this current map. It's more towards the side of ruins, more towards the side of left or lower left of the island. But so far, a lot of teams still waiting for the right time to migrate. But we do have an airdrop coming up from SEM9. Now, SEM9, this is a team that have a lot of promises when it comes to the country finals, but now looks very gloomy when it comes to the PMPL South Asia.
Yeah, it's been a tough campaign for SEM9. Last week, week 1, it was okay, can be better, but was okay. But if they do end up somewhere at the bottom this week, next week will be super hard for them. But it will also depend on some of the team's performance as well, other teams' performance, because we also know that like For Rivals is also at the bottom. So naturally, these kind of teams would also take up the eliminated slot. So they could also be in a position where they can depend on other teams to be eliminated, and they themselves can see the light onto the grand finals. But then again, we need to tabulate the scores. It is not as straightforward. We'll have a better idea as the day closes today.
Back to a start of Chem Charlie, GIDS. Seems like moving to it straight into the direction of DBD. But a bit hesitant because they do know when it comes to the high grounds, I mean, what kind of a map it is. If you talk about Sunhawk, Erangel, Miramar, when it comes to high grounds, there's always someone staying there for a bit, just to make sure they can see a bit more, giving away the information of the movement. So whenever you are from the lower ground, try to get to the high ground, you have to think twice, especially if you don't have enough smoke. Now, Tony K yesterday have been quite not so flashy. I have to say he has been one of the few members of FaZe being eliminated quite early on, but in the last minute, he did triumph in the last few matches. But in this one, I'm not sure how FaZe gonna try to conduct their battle fighting against NFT. Ramoon's definitely spotted outside of FaZe, still taking a bit of a trigger discipline and not trying to start the first move.
Yeah, I don't think FaZe will really run into NFT at this moment. It doesn't. Both teams seem to be kind of comfortable inside the circle. Even if FaZe wants to move, they'll probably take another type of compound or another type of area rather than this. But now with NFT of giving those warning shots away towards FaZe Clan, they'll be like, okay, nope. So the area has somebody. It's not worthwhile for us to go at it, just because of how the terrain is, and we'll look at somewhere else if we want to move.
The thing is, you're talking about FaZe Clan here. If they're being challenged, they don't like it. You know what? If they're being warning shots fired upon them, they were like, oh, you want to fight us? Let's have it a go. So they might actually try to challenge NFT, but maybe they will part ways. Depends on the circle as well, because we're still in the first phase anyway. It's too early to talk about this fights, especially unnecessary fights early on. Same goes for GIDS, who's lurking around inside of DBD for quite some time now. Not trying to make a first move yet, but Alan, oh, we do know Alan. You know Alan.
I know Alan. He's playing with GIDS.
Okay.
Okay.
Yoodo Alliance now rotating towards the sea area with a boat. And still tugging a bit of a blue zone. Same goes for Infinity, who's happened to rotating very late though. So this is going to be the usual. Infinity, how are they so strong? So I didn't mention this. They are not too reckless when it comes to picking fights. They're not too, they're not too hungry for blood too early on. They do know when the time matters. They kind of put in mind rotation really matters, so they're taking a safe route instead of going straight head on. But GIDS is a different story. They bought and Boom especially cooking up the nade. Seconds to go and letting off. It's going to be first explosion, but it will not connect to the start of GIDS.
Yeah, so DBD move from that area. So it looks like they moved a little bit up north, and it happens so that the circle moves up north as well. So means that this fight is somewhat inevitable. That means they need to fight it off. They need to win this fight. Or they just need to disperse, either one. But looking at current condition, both teams seems to really want to take this fight with each other. And if they do so, they need to make it quick, and DBD has the upper hand now.
DBD, they have to take the fight. If not, they'll be backstabbed from behind because GIDS to have to cut across just to get inside of a circle. And not just them. There's going to be 3 teams later fighting each other, including TEM Entertainment maybe around the corner there. But GIDS, they have no other way if they want to get into the safe zone. This is the fastest route they can get. Ego Esports taking on 4 rivals quite from afar. I'm surprised I can shoot through that 3 and still connect the shots coming up towards the side of 4 rivals.
Yeah, that's like, what, 500 meters away, something like that. It's really, really far, but still able to connect those shots. But now, back onto A-Pool, counterfire on the Chua. It does connect 50% of health left for Chua. Both these teams on the outside of the circle, and it's only 1 minute left till the circle closes in.
A-Pool's still going to spray over Ego Esports. That's going to be over 100 meters away and still going to go for more. A-Pool at the same time have to think about rotations there. Definitely got himself a buggy and also maybe possibly a motorbike. And Ego Esports on the other hand, if they are not trying to disengage now and trying to get into the circle, they will get it very late. They have a bit of a problem there.
Yeah, but 4 rivals choose to like, okay, nope, we're just going to disengage. Looking at the time, it's not going to be worth it, and we're still on the outside of the circle, so let's just bail this. But now we're back to DBD and GIDS. Despite DBD having the upper hand because they got that first elimination, but still they're focused on to just playing it slowly with GIDS, really not letting their guard down. But they have to be aware that it's only 10 more seconds and they're still on the outside of the zone.
Jimmy OP waiting for GIDS to cross over because they do know they're trying to gatekeep GIDS. They have to cut across, like it or not. Back to the side, 4 rivals. They got himself in the center of bootcamp here, but it's not really in the center of the circle. Still comprises a bit of it. Xavier seems to be interesting to cut across bootcamp at the same time with DBS already ready for the sort of 4 rivals. They possibly try to rotate and try to see if there's anybody trying to bypass them. But these Xaviers, Rabies and Duke, spot out Dips, the first man to have to fight between these two, but it's going to be flank side. Putra take down on Duke without any whiff at all.
And so Duke happened to jump into the house. When he got knocked, then it's going to be a free elimination for Adib. Now the rest of Xavier, okay, now that they don't have the number advantage against Sem9 and Sem9 has a compound, they're definitely not going to go forward anymore. And plus they're in the circle, so they can kind of wait it out. But they might want to plan out their rotation, maybe just to avoid this compound.
Well, back to his side of Putra, he got one. That's going to be 1 point in the back. Tossing out the first nade. Seems like clipping a bit off Rabies. But at the same time, do the Xaviers want to keep on challenging them or they want to go for disengagement? They lost 1 minute along the process. Now, for the side of Harm, spotted out Frankie's head just now. All it needs is just one more pick coming from the Xaviers. You can shoot them down. For the side of the Xaviers, you can rotate around it if you want to avoid this fight. But the moment they rotate the other way, it might be another team waiting on the shoreline. In this case, it's going to be 4 rivals waiting on the other end. But still, Harm spotted out Rabies and the others started swimming. So they're having a bit of a problem to revive him.
Yeah, they don't really have a choice. They can't really like crash into this compound. Obviously, they don't have a vehicle, and if they try to run, there's a lot of open windows for them to get shot at. So I can understand why the Xavier, they choose to bail this and go to another location. But unfortunately, one of them had to be gunned down. Now, what's going to be important next is going to be the circle. And this is going to be a tough one, right? Because it still has like 2 islands and 1 small island in. And Camp Alpha Island, looking at this position, we've seen it time and time again. Alter Ego's position with the hilltop, they are in a prime position to get this going.
Infinity was one of the furthest away from Chem Alpha, but still yet, they predicted right this time. Look at how they're just on top of Chem Alpha, with Empire showing on the southern part, Alter Ego taking the right side. Now, all 3 angles, 3 direction, already comprises of a lot of teams there. Whoever's not inside of circle, especially coming up from the south part with Empires waiting, gatekeeping that bridge. That's going to be a really tough cross for the other teams coming in late.
DVD, as what we expected, because of that stalemate together with GIDS, now they are taking out the blue. Doesn't look like DVD has a lot of first aids to play with, but at the same time, we can see the elimination feed running. Capone from BN United taken down by Sem9. Sem9, they're not done yet. They still have part of the circle to play that gatekeeping role of whoever wants to come through this area. And because it's BN United and not Xavier bailed it. BN United had no information. They had to lose 1 player.
Oh, close enough for Bevy, but Boy Chill already down on the ground, bleeding out. Another one nade being cooked up by Fafel just now. Ramones can actually revive, but they're not popping out any smoke yet. Bevy smoke up and push forward. Here comes another nade and a go. I'm not sure if it's going to clip or not. Boy Chill is really in the risk there. But at the same time, getting nothing on side of Bevy. Try to just flank them out. Reverse on the other side, but never mind. TEM Entertainment, they will not fool in this time because they're quite scattered between themselves. It's going to be a bit of a safe zone for the teams there and a bit of a stalemate for some of them. In GIDS case, they are taking it as slow as possible. They don't have that much first aid. So only 6 of them and 4 on the side of Chua. Like they have to force a fight here.
Yeah, even if they combine their first aid, it doesn't look like they have more than 10 as a total. But for the Eagles to block them, to gatekeep them, or either way, it's going to be tough for these 2 teams. Looking at the first aids held by the Eagles, they're not much as well. Yoodo Alliance swimming. They took the boat right on the left and now they're caught up. Vampires, they'll have a good time fishing.
Oh, Shreps. What a Thanksgiving day for you. Only you have to breathe up, but there goes the spray. 2 meters apart and finish off by the side of Vampire. This is what I literally just mentioned. They will gatekeep this hard on the southern part for Vampires. They got it covered. And the one coming up from north, there's going to be Infinity. There's going to be Alter Ego the other end. How can they go in if they don't have enough smoke? Smoke is the only answer right now. If you go through a boat, they're still going to spot you out.
Yeah, it's tough, right? If you're caught by the boat rotation, especially in water, there's nothing much that you can do. If you jump into the water, you can just swim. You can't even shoot back. So that's the toughest position to be in inside of this kind of map. But now we're going back to TBD, looking at this current situation. Echo and Jimmy, the last two standing, and Echo only has 2 first aids, but Jimmy, nowhere to be found. He could be playing the healing game, and there you go. Jimmy's on the other side, but we don't have visual yet how many first aids he has, but hopefully we'll be able to see, and we'll evaluate whether they're actually playing the healing game or not.
Here comes Daybot from the flank side. What a nice bait setting up by Alan. And finish off Echo straight away, left with Jimmy in the case of DBD right now. Still waiting if there's any, like how you mentioned before, if there's how many he has in his possession. Back to the side of the circle. Well, Alter Ego got the best place there is. With Infinity coming up from the left side. They were still fighting. It's going to be FaZe. The one that's actually on the bridge. This is going to be a death bridge with a lot of toll will be given here. We're talking about death toll will rise up on the southern side of the bridge of Chem Alpha.
Yeah, there are like, what, 2 or 3 teams at the southern side at the bridge, and FaZe Clan will have a fun time. Yeah, excluding FaZe Clan. Because I was thinking, my thought process is that FaZe Clan is the one gatekeeping them, and they have that big advantage. But let's see how TEM Entertainment overcomes this. With about 5 more seconds on the clock, Lycan down to 40% of health. Daybot gets one for himself, but FaZe Clan still holding this bridge strong.
At the same time, Box Gaming also tried to cut across, which is quite further than what we witnessed right now. TEM Entertainment Bavi got one. Kobe, but shot down from behind. It's going to be NFT Ramon shooting him. And this is what we worry for this, guys. Maybe all of teams will actually lose this one, but NFT Ramon's going to just put a bit of a band-aid as they try to go around. At the same time, Onzen's will actually just build this one out. Box Gaming is still lurking around the corner. They're just swimming over instead of just crossing it. Quite smart coming up from Box Gaming, but Onzen's can whiff them out.
Okay, let's see here. Onzen's, he knows. That's it for Trisme. Goes down. And now it's going to be the last man standing break for Box Gaming. Now that he has that information that someone's waiting for him at the corner, it's going to be tough for him to move forward. But at least he has an area where he can... Oh, looks like he can pick up his teammate. That's 1 second. He can still use his first aids, but he only has like, what, 4 first aids, and that's about it. But the vehicle drive by Onzen, that should give them a signal that the enemy has moved away.
Yep, and also, I don't know what happened to Alan. He fought himself just now for GDG Ideas, now leaving with 1 man remaining. Tony K knocked down by the side of Max. Coming up from BN United, Vampire slowly being surrounded by the side of Sem9, creeping in towards their compound. At the same time, it was really smart coming up from Box Gaming just now, finding one particular spot to revive. They're spraying over Ravenclaw, knocked one down. He's trying to find one more while reloading his magazine, tossing out the Molotov to a side of Stone, and make sure that nobody can revive Ravenclaw while they will be baited towards where Ravenclaw being knocked down.
Oh, Sem9, they know this hill like the back of their hand. They always play here during even previous seasons, so they know the terrain very well. Now they're trying to take advantage against Vampires. Vampires, of course, they have the high ground against Sem9. That's their advantage at this moment. But what's going to be important as well is the circle moved away from this area. Both teams need to fight. We're talking about the 5th to the 6th circle. It's not that playable unless you have tons of first aids.
Yep, definitely true. More than 1 HP burn out by second. Ego Esports eliminated next. That's going to be the end of them. Same goes for Box just now, who's barely make it alive. 4 rivals taking almost the entirety of the team, taking the center. We're talking about Alter Ego spreading out quite thin between themselves. These Xavier left with Lamborghini on the northern side. Infinity will have the challenge, get 4 rivals if they want to cut across, but they got the compound still inside of a circle, so it's going to be fine. Sem9 the furthest away, same goes for BN United. Alter Ego on the other end, fighting Vampires as well, trying to show their domination on the high ground.
I really want to know how the Infinity and 4 rivals got onto the left side, because normally they are on the right side of the map as their regular drop spots. So And they still maintain all 4 of their members. That's amazing. And we didn't see much of the action on their side, so they evaded everyone. What a good rotation that is. I really want to review that again. But now Alter Ego, as what we talked about, they have a prime position on top of this hill. They're gatekeeping everyone who's trying to get in.
What a spray from Bombit is just beautiful. He didn't even whiff, and the recoil, he controlled it so well with his barrels plays. Back to the side of Renalre, tried to spot the rest of Empire. They already built that place already. He couldn't get the same spot players twice here. For the side of Sem9, slowly you're going to backstab Vampires. Vampires being hammed down quite hard here, with Alter Ego taking the high ground advantage. It really suits them. While BN United taking on Sem9 as we speak at the foot of a mountain. This is going to be a really risky movement for the teams. BN United try to creep in. Vampires taking most of the lower side south of part, but Alter Ego have spread the best one, and they getting more when it comes to eliminations too.
Yeah, because they were there at first, so they know how to park themselves in key positions, key entry points in this hill, and they still have the advantage at this moment. But now, look at this. The Infinity needs to fight against 4 rivals, but Alter Ego has a buddy from afar, from the high ground, and is stopping the Infinity from moving forward.
And now Infinity got shot down by the side of Alter Ego is just having the best vintage point up here, and they're still taking it more. Fnatic making such a gateway for the team here, taking down Infinity one by one. He can finish things off by himself as long as he got himself that resources enough to use with. But at the same time, he himself is such a hindrance for 2 teams down there.
Yeah.
4 rivals couldn't even move out as well.
I know, right? Like 4 rounds, even if they want to come out and they have to come out of the combat anyway because they don't have the circle. The moment they do that, Alter Ego will shoot them down. There's nowhere for the Infinity and 4 rivals to go. The Infinity, they can try to get elimination points out of 4 rivals, but look at this. The shots coming from Fnatic, stopping them at their tracks. Logan goes down. There's not much they can do.
Oh, Mela gonna force himself out. He almost got one, but he knocked down instead. Changed to FVP just now. But Voking the rest of 4 rivals, you don't have time to reset here. Definitely got the entire team of Infinity out right now. Only left with 1 member. Tony just hugging around the corner. But Fnatic making it so hard for the players. They can't move forward. Fnatic is just having the best vantage point with a clear view, taking the entirety of also 4 rivals just now.
Yeah, there's no way they can outplay that. Gotuni, the best they can do is play the healing game. Not sure how many first ace he has, but probably that's not going to be much. He definitely can out-heal the Xavier Lamborghini at this moment. Lamborghini is currently in the circle, it's just that they don't know where he is. And if Lamborghini shows himself right now, it will be 3rd place for him. So he'll definitely want to look at this. Players left in the game to go down at least 1 more before he maybe want to try his luck, but he's also on the outside of the circle. He'll be forced to move, and Lamborghini 1v4 in this kind of situation. Actually, we can't think about it, right? It's kind of doable because the opponent is spread out, and Lamborghini, if we can take them out 1 by 1, there could be a possibility of this enormous clutch.
That's a tall order for the side of Lamborghini since 4 men of Alter Ego is surrounding him at the same time. But Lamborghini, he spot out Fnatic, and while Fnatic definitely knows where he's at possibly, but I'm not sure. Right now, I don't think so. Here comes Lamborghini trying to take on Alpha. That's going to be the last one. These Xavier's out for the 3rd place, left with Infinity. Now it's down to the healing game of Tony. He's still got 17 first 8. Now this is going to be a really slow death.
Yeah, this will take a while, but Lamborghini's situation, if you can't think about it, if we want that fight on top, he's on the clear. Like, he can reset himself. There's not much that the bottom people can do, but he still needs to move forward. But as he moves forward, maybe he can try to snipe them down from the top 1 by 1 and maybe able to pull off that crazy clutch. Although it's super tough, I totally understand that, but I just want to put out like a small percentage of a possibility there if he won that first fight.
Well, right now, Alter Ego still waiting for the last person of Infinity. Might have a dance for Fnatic. He's having fun right now, just waiting. I think he will be the MVP for this round. He's got himself quite a number of eliminations from the spot that he's been standing the longest time. It was a perfect view for him as well. I mean, like Alter Ego, he definitely has this in the back. But for a side of Got Tony, he can shoot if he wants to. It's a bit too far. But at the same time, the wall is making it so hard for him to actually land any shots there. It's just a matter of time for him to just playing the healing game. Still going to play second regardless, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, his position early on, it was hard to challenge Fnatic at that kind of elevation with a kind of view, and he can anyhow if they try to shoot him down, he can just back off and play with the geography. And anyway, the Infinity, they were busy with 4 rivals as well, so there's no way he could have been challenged on top of there. I wouldn't be surprised if because of that he will be the MVP, because of his positioning, because of all the eliminations that he took, and I'm sure he dished out a good amount of damage as well. Definitely his. But God Tooney, okay, he's done finally, and that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Alter Ego with the King of the Hill win. This is their chicken dinner to open the day.
Well, a strong start for the Nation team this time with the chicken dinner that was flawless at the vintage point. It was blessed by the circle as well. Ended up on the highlands. We can call it highlands, high grounds as well. But back to it, how we talked about rotation of certain teams. I do know that, I'm reading chats, just saying. You guys did say, I mentioned about Infinity not taking fight. They take fight, but they take fight when times really matter. Example there, we saw Infinity, even though they lost a lot of men early on, and they rotated quite far, usually they drop around the Paradise Resort on the outskirts of it, but they still managed to secure a couple of eliminations during the process of transition, especially after the third circle. So the first 2 is always about surviving. In this case, a lot of team kind of being eliminated too early on. We're talking about DBD fighting previously with another team entirely. Vampire shooting at Yoodo Alliance. Whoever swims, it's just almost impossible to reach there because there's so many blockage coming up from the other teams.
Yeah, the moment you got caught out, that's it. Like, if you're in the water, there's nothing much that you can do. And that happened to be the case for Yoodo Alliance. I understand why they do that, because the rotation or the circle is really, really far from them, and there's a lot of choke points if they choose to go through land. They took their chances to go through water. Wasn't that a bad decision? It's just that they were unlucky that they were still guarded by vampires at some point. But speaking about being guarded, just look at this position. How are you going to challenge Fnatic? There's almost no way. And he'll be happily farming all these eliminations.
I do want to know how much Fnatic is secure by themselves. Here, we saw Renore got 2. And overall, I think they might get the only team with a double-digit elimination because of how the background they have. For Lamborghini, it was a nice, valiant effort, but at the same time, it's just not going to be enough. Still, what a game for Alter Ego. It just went so perfectly well. Just everything, rotations, placement, everything is just on point for them. Even the throws are not being used that much because they have been having a clear line of sight to shoot down everybody that moved down there.
Yeah, and their positioning is also thanks to their regular draw spot together with Circle. It's a quick move for them to go up to that high ground. I mean, the moment you see this kind of circle and you get the advantage of going up on the Camp Alpha mountain, you definitely want to take that. It's easier always to, like, if you're on top and you try to go down, rather than if you're down and you try to go up and you need to challenge teams that Alter Ego is already up there. So it's pretty much like a no-brainer kind of move for Alter Ego based on their position as well.
And for Alter Ego closing up, they didn't get the double digit, but still 9 eliminations, securing 24 points. This is going to change when it comes to overall rankings later. Infinity still, even though they didn't get a lot of eliminations, but still because of their 12 points ranks, putting themselves in second place. But 4 rivals managed to survive as a third and got still the same elimination number as Infinity plays at third. These Xaviers, without any eliminations here, securing just ranking points, got them 10. There's a 3 10s in this round, TEM Entertainment and 7-9 as well. 7-9 and DBD have been really aggressive early on, but it's just not doing well when it comes to getting into the circle because it was a tough one. We saw how hard it is to get in.
Yeah, it was, especially for DBD, if you compare the both of them. They had to fight like GIDS at some point, the circle went up north and so on and so forth. But yeah, it was a tough one for them anyway. But I'm kind of surprised as well. I thought that Fnatic would have gotten it. I'm sure you would be thinking the same.
Definitely.
But 2 elimination points, 635 damage. I think it's because of the ratio of eliminations versus damage. In other words, he did a lot of work for his team.
Now make me wonder how much Fnatic actually dish out the damage. Yeah. Because he's been shooting 4 rivals, Infinity, and other teams before that. Definitely, they got himself quite a number. But here comes the overall ranking. Still, Infinity stays at number 1. And when it comes to second, TEM Entertainment doing better than last week. Got himself 2 chickens here. Triple team, we're getting himself 2 chickens on top, including Geek Fam at 3rd place. It's nice to see a different flag sometimes. These Xaviers, this time, they're doing it really strong when it comes to week number 2.
Well, a little bit too bad for Buriram United because of their early exit. They will still be stuck at page number 2. So it was too bad for them. Vampire, they're catching up. It's actually the difference not too big. So with the amount of games to play again today, there's still possibility for these Thai teams to be on page 1 at least. But I'm also excited, like what you said, is to see different teams as well being up there. Geek Fam, they didn't play in this round, but Xavier moving up as well. And then GIDS, Alter Ego, they're also challenging for that top spot too. Still able to catch up to the Infinity depending on how the Infinity performs today.
Oh, but by the end of today, we still have to wait. Is it going to be majority of the ties versus 6th placement again? Because they still have a lot of games to go. And within one match, I'm not surprised they got themselves a new record to start with. So far, the highest elimination is still 16, taken by BN United and Geek Fam. But the others, I mean, like, we will finally get ourselves a 20 eliminations by today or not. But back towards our recap here, Cloud, what's happening?
Yeah, so the flight path, because it was on the left, so it was tough for some of the teams that like to drop on the right. Now, I really wanted to see how the Infinity moved towards the left, unchallenged in fact, because just look at their starting drop spot. Khao, Tan Mo on the outskirts of Paradise Resort, regular, nothing unusual for them. But it seems to be a slow move for the Infinity. Just keep an eye on where they move. Still playing at the top even though it's like the later stages of the game. So they got a vehicle, they zoom straight into Camp Alpha. That is how they do it. They avoided the areas where Alter Ego or where Sam Knight or where D Xavier was, and they parked themselves on the left. That's why they were unchallenged towards that later stage.
At the same time, you guys might have asked, why is nobody coming up from the southern part? Because there's FaZe Clan there, bridge camping for a bit. And more towards, being have a bit of a choke point down there. I think around 4 to 5, including Box Gaming, kind of eliminated down there, as well as NFT. But for the ones that survived, they didn't actually get into the circle late. Now that's really important because they won't be gatekeep like how the other teams come up from the southern part. Back to the side of 4 rivals versus Infinity, the one winning here is going to be Fnatic. And he shouted out for Ronaldo and the rest of them, particularly Pombe, actually join hands to take down the teams down there. It's really a tough hike. For 4 rivals and Infinity, there's no way out at all. We're talking about Lamborghini playing out from the back line. There's no way for him to actually survive versus a 4 of Alter Ego. But Tunny, well, that's the max you can do when you're playing healing game. That's it. You can't get chicken regardless.
Yeah, looking back at that replay, right, I think the most that 4 rivals or the Infinity can do, even if they got out of the house safely, is to hug the high ground, just the lower part of the high ground, and that's about it. It's not like they can go up or anything, and that will also put them in a position that, they will get shot from up. So it is a very tough position for them. There's no way Alter Ego can be challenged in that kind of circle. So it was very clear. It just depends on who gets what position and maybe extra eliminations from each other, and that's about it. But this kind of circle, it's always very tricky. But hey, at least the good news is that Sanhok is done, so we'll be focusing on Miramar next.
Yep, and just now, they can actually go through that, going around it with smokes, but the problem is they don't have enough utilities. This is what we mentioned way back there in the quarterfinals. They have to save up some of their utilities just for the sake of the last few circles, but in that case, really tough for them. But when it comes to Miramar, it's also back towards the high grounds. We watched just now how Alter Ego take away Sanhok with the high grounds advantage, and this one is going to be the same. But when it comes to Miramar, the teams for the summary this time is still on the first match just now. Alter Ego and Infinity. Well, Infinity, Tony played the healing game. I think the last time we saw him was with 17, the minimum. And I think he had more before, maybe 20-ish before he started healing. And definitely he was his time in the blue because of his playing healing game. That's it.
Yeah, the time in the blue. I guess that plus during the early stage, I'm pretty sure they would have tanked out the blue because that's how the Infinity plays inside of Sanhok. If the circle is far away, they wouldn't mind taking out a little bit during the first phase, second phase of the circle. But that is Sanhok, and that's done for this week's Sanhok map. Now, next, we will be going to 2 Miramars back-to-back. So again, what is the stat without a Thai team, right? We have to have FaZe Clan in there. We have to have Buriram United representing Thailand. But besides that as well, we have Alter Ego just with that chicken dinner and SLD that will be playing the next round.
Oh boy, SLD has not been shining that bright if we compare with last week, but they still maintain consistency in the middle bracket. But aside of Alter Ego, they have been really strong starting off today. They just got themselves in one chicken dinner that's going to contribute quite a lot when it comes to overall rankings. But here comes the group A, B, D, E. Like we mentioned before, group C is not playing. There's going to be Ego Esports, FaZe, NFT, and Sam9. Now, the others, on the other hand, when there's Group A, again, it's going to be 5 Thai teams instead of 4 because Group A have double of them. TEM Entertainment, when it comes to this week, really remarkable performance. But I'm loving how the Xaviers just change up their momentum this week as well.
Oh yeah, they fixed a lot of their mistakes from last week. Last week they always got caught out in between two teams, sandwich, always not checking their blind spots, tunnel vision, and all that. What sounds pretty basic is actually what happened to them last week. But this week they seem to be fixing all of that, and just by fixing all the basics, we can see what sort of result it brings to Team Xavier. Can you imagine that if they can continue on this sort of momentum, not making those same mistakes again, next week they'll be super scary, and especially into the grand finals if we do see them.
Yeah, that's true. Minor tweak change a lot when it comes to dynamics. We talked about the Xaviers and Geek Fam, but what we will be changing is still going to be for you guys, Buble Boy. It's going to be the PUBG Mobile collaboration with the local animation of Buble Boy, which is going to be soon. Right now it's already October, so you guys, all you need to do is just wait for it.
Yeah, just wait. To be fair, they didn't mention exactly when, but if you know what, if you look onto the of the social medias of PUBG Mobile today, you would have seen that there's another slight teaser of the Bobo Boy. So head on to that. Not going to spoil it for you guys. I also do check it out from time to time inside the game to see what's up with this. Could it be a bag? Could it be a weapon? Could it be a voice bag? Could it be skins? We don't know. I don't know as well. We here don't know as well. So you guys just keep an eye on this. You don't want to miss out on this. Super stoked for this collaboration.
What a taunt. They don't even have any graphic for us to give any idea what's happening here. Still the PUBG, the usual one, the classics graphics. But here comes another one. Today is not Wednesday, today is Sunday, but 3 more days to go. You guys can actually get yourself a double point with Rabu Padu's second phase has begun. So don't forget to hashtag Rabu Padu Menang Selalu and get yourself a classic coupon crate. And maybe more than that, because you can get yourself weekly prizes and double up the points, especially if you log in and play during Wednesday. So don't forget, there's only a few numbers of Wednesdays left. This is gonna be ongoing until the 31st of October.
Yeah, so until this month, in other words, we only have a couple of Wednesdays left to play for you to get those double points to climb up the ladder, so you don't want to miss out on all the freebies inside the game. And that is, again, those reminders for all of you before we head on to our Miramar game. Now, Miramar game, yesterday we saw a southern circle that was really interesting. It was towards the high ground for the southern side, just below of Chumacera, and it was an advantage for teams who have taken over those high ground spots, especially the Infinity yesterday. They were super duper strong. But will things change today? Of course, it depends on the circle and of course how they feel like they are performing today as well.
Speaking of circles, there's 2 different circles entirely yesterday. One is the one that's spotted out by Cloud, which gave me a southern part. The first one was actually on the outside of Crater Field, ended up in the very unique place, which is going to be the high ground of the mountains nearby the Crater Field. So yesterday's circle, I mean, like, not just yesterday, the entirety of PMPL South Asia circle has been really unusual, unorthodox, outside the box. Whoever tried to read out the pattern still cannot pinpoint it out. But at least for the first few circles, it's really important for you not to be too far away. Definitely try to find vehicles. So we might have a bit of a vehicle brawl when it comes to Miramar because of how much they want to fight against each other early on. But this time we're going to have to wait and see if things going to go up really well for the Thais, because Vampires, they got caught red-handed or got down in the previous match, and they are right now with Buriram as well in a sort of uncomfortable position. The only Thai team's not in the first page, so we're waiting for them to actually do something miraculous to actually push themselves upwards, because that's what happened last week.
Speaking about vehicle brawl, it reminds me of yesterday's Irango game.
Bansu?
Yeah, the Bansu one. Yeah. So I wonder if it will happen again, if we'll see that again later on. We wouldn't mind. Please, entertain us, in other words.
Not just that, Bansu outplayed with a punch. Time. That was a DBS he was fighting against.
Yeah, it was a shotgun versus a punch.
It wasn't a shotgun. It was DBS or shotgun.
It was a regular shotgun. But still, it's a shotgun, right? At that rate, you won't expect and shotgun to
And he stole away the vehicle.
And he stole away the vehicle. Yes, that is the cream de la creme.
I mean, like, that was definitely how you outplay your opponents. Even though you have nothing, but you have your witty part of it, it's enough. But we're gonna actually draw our prediction right now. I forgot what I predicted, but it's gonna be Vampires and TEM
Both Thai
Entertainment.
teams. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I mean, can't complain. If there's a Thai team there, it's like, yeah, okay. Duh.
Yeah, you can't deny.
Can't deny.
They are Titans for a reason.
Titans,
But
exactly.
I feel like Vampires is more desperate than TEM Entertainment this time.
Honestly, between these two, I would like to see Vampires get the chicken dinner.
Vampires are
Might
really
as well.
down there. I mean, like, they are not in the spot where they used to be. And Vampires, remember how they just within one day, they start to change a lot of stuff and bulldoze people from behind.
Yeah.
We're waiting for that to happen again. But for TEM Entertainment, it has been a great week for them.
Yeah, they're good. They're okay right now. So it's all about. I want to see again Vampire. Now Vampire is like the TEM Entertainment last.
Yeah, they
like-
let in chicken yesterday. I mean, like the whole week.
They did.
Okay,
but,
at least they got.
But they are like the last place among the Thais, and their last place is like have a gap between them and Buriram United. So it's
Oh.
like they're like, hey, you down there, in Thai language. Just imagine that.
How do you say it in Thailand?
ขอบคุณครับสวัสดีครับต้มยำกุ้ง
Oh, let's
Yeah.
try.
Okay,
but
I
we're gonna see. I mean, like, we do know that's gonna talk about food later with Grab delivery 50% off with PUBGM promo code. You guys don't forget about that. But for Mirama, it's all about high grounds, vehicles, circle, and flight path. It's always about that. And also, whoever tried to challenge the map, I do wish we get a bit of skirmishes of the vehicle brawl again. But that was, I think, Erangel. So it's quite a rare sight when it comes to Mirama because, well, Mirama is a very dusty map anyways.
Yeah, for that to happen, we have to first hope that the flight path is like at one corner. If it's a flight path, it's like nicely sliced in the middle, then it's very unlikely for us to see that. But if it's like at the corner, then we'll see some desperate moves trying to grab vehicles or maybe even getting eliminated while they're still on the parachute. That has happened in PAL, by the way. So do check out the PAL as well. It's cool. But we'll check out Mirama Game 2.
First Mirama of week number 2. And we're back in the game. That was a slippery headscarf I have. But we're back into week number 2, first Mirama of the day. So we're gonna have to wait and see if the flight path really gonna contradict with the circle. We did have Valdemar yesterday. So today will it be the same since we have a north flight path? If it happens to be Valdemar, you do have Ego Esports playing, if I'm not mistaken, around Chumasura. That's gonna be the advantage if that happens there.
Yeah. So, because of that kind of positioning, if the circle happened to be in Buriram, minus the valley, those high ground areas, they'll definitely have that advantage of like going up first, of course, if they choose to. Other than that, the Infinity, we know that they're very good at playing that kind of terrain. Even at the last couple of days where they didn't get that circle, or they didn't get the chicken dinner, but they still did fairly well because they know how to move and get advantage based on the geography. So they are really, really knowledgeable about that. But keep an eye on the northern side, around the areas of Campo Milita. I think there could be a small scuffle between Boom and GIDS to get vehicles, but so far it seems to be alright. Okay, no big moves yet.
Yep, speaking of the group D not playing, Chumasura will be vacant since Ego Esports will not be here as well. But Circle is very generous as we speak. We do have a couple of teams actually going on the northern side. GIDS, Boom and 4 rivals. Now this is going to be interesting if they happen to be moving in the same direction towards the circle because they are pretty much sharing the same compound here.
Yeah, I know, right? So let's see. I think they have the information. I think Boom saw GIDS, and obviously right now GIDS sees Booms. Booms and Boom, get it? But anyway, because they have the information that, okay, both of them are in the same area.
Booms.
I know, right? It's very confusing whenever we say that. We say
Which
Booms.
Booms? The player or the team?
Yeah,